Hi everyone, today I'm going to teach you how to make this dish. Sauteed salmon with a crispy crust, asparagus, and sauteed mushrooms. Just cook it. It's a really easy dish to put together. One of the key things to start with is most of the times when you get salmon in, it'll be wet from the packaging. To make sure you dry it off really well. If the salmon's not dry, you won't get as crispy of a crust on it. The main reason for that, when you put it in a hot saute pan, you do not want it to steam, you want it to saute, and any lack of moisture will assist with that. So get some paper towels, make sure it's thoroughly dry. Then after, season it with salt and pepper, both front and back. Their salmon seasoned. I'm gonna set that aside. All right, next we'll chop up the garlic. Pretty simple, just get a cleaver, any knife, you could squash it. Usually I squash it like this, that way it makes the skin much easier to peel off. So I just pop it right out of there. Usually garlic, where it attaches to the root, has a fibrous little node there. We'll get rid of that. And then after, again, keeping your fingers back, just saute the garlic into little strips. Chop it up some more. Since garlic's so strong, I like to have it very finely chopped. That way you get better coverage onto all of your asparagus. Because personally, I like to not get one big chunk of garlic. I prefer it spread out throughout the dish. So it's almost done there. Get that garlic and put that into a little. Next, we'll chop up some mushrooms. These are cremini brown mushrooms. Very tasty, goes great with the salmon. Chopping them up in about 1/4 inch strips. These have been washed and dried. I'll put the mushrooms in a little bowl to save for sauteing. Next, have some asparagus. Really important, the size of the asparagus. These are pencil thin, so they'll cook extremely fast. The thicker they are, a lot of times you have to get rid of that bottom inch of the asparagus. It tends to be pretty fibrous where it was cut from the field. These are so thin, and I could tell they're not that fibrous just by flexing. You can see like this part's really easy to flex in the middle, and over here it's a little harder and it just snapped. So that's, and just about where that snapped is right where you want to cut off that fibrous part. So on these, maybe about 1 inch. And that'll get thrown in the garbage. And then the asparagus is ready to be parboiled. Really important with the asparagus, the parboiling, these are so pencil thin that it'll be less than 30 seconds. I just like to parboil them quickly in salted water. After I take them out, I'll put them right away into a pan to let the moisture come off of them, then add in my olive oil. So we have our ingredients, our salmon, our asparagus, chopped up garlic, mushrooms, olive oil, and we are all set. Okay, next is we're going to saute the salmon. Really important here to have a very hot pan to get a nice crisp skin on it. Again, you're not steaming it, you're sauteing in a little bit of oil, and a hot pan is essential. Usually what I do for that is you could put just a tiny bit of water on your fingers, throw it in the pan, you see how it just disappeared right away? That's so once you know you have that, put in your olive oil. For this, probably like 2 teaspoons. You could even see the way the olive oil is running so quickly that it is very hot. So now that the oil's hot, put in the salmon. Always drop it in the pan away from you. That way the splatter will go away from you. You won't get sizzled. So here we go.
And it'll probably be about 3 minutes on each side. You can see that nice crispy skin on there. All that is a nice little crispy crust. About 3 minutes on this side. Now, one of the questions I get the most when cooking anything is like, for how long? And that's so dependent on the size of what you're cooking, the thickness, how cold it is, how long it's been out of the freezer. So really the best way to get better at this is to cut into your food or to feel the difference, you know, at different states of like how firm the flesh is. And I'll go ahead and do that now. I definitely think it's, you can see right there, it's not all the way translucent. I would say right there, it's probably medium rare, and that's a thinner part of the salmon. And right there where I stabbed into it with the tongs also, I could tell that it's not changed colors yet in the middle there. So again, for demonstration purposes, kind of cutting into the meat, and you can see how it's still a little raw in the middle. Usually I do like most of my fish to be, I would say, medium cooked, so there's definitely going to be, it's not going to be done all the way through, that way it stays very moist. So it probably has about another minute. And remember, when you take the salmon off the fire, it's still going to continue cooking a little bit. And I'd rather have you undercook it slightly and have to reheat it a little bit, then you can't go back the opposite way of having something well done and bringing moisture back into it. That is a beautiful piece of salmon there, so nice and crispy on the outside. And I'll go ahead and turn off the fire. Put the salmon to the side. Okay, now for the sauteed mushrooms. Again, a really hot pan, sprinkling a little bit of water. You can see you're getting a nice sizzle from it right away, and that water, those water drops disappear almost immediately, showing you got a really nice hot pan to saute your mushrooms. Put in about probably a little less than a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, and put in the mushrooms. Okay, the mushrooms have been sauteing for about 3 minutes. Put in a pinch of salt. Let's say they're about 80% of the way cooked. That one could use a little more. Put a little bit of black pepper. These mushrooms smell fantastic. Okay, I have my pot of boiling water for the asparagus. About a teaspoon of salt there, and we'll let that come to a boil. Again, this asparagus is pretty thin, so I'll just keep it in there for about 30 seconds, just a quick parboil. And in the meantime, my other pan is heating up. That's where I'm going to saute the asparagus in that black carbon steel pan. Again, you can see my saute pan for the asparagus is nice and hot. Sprinkle some water in there, it disappears right away. So I'll just grab all that asparagus out of here, put it right into the other pan. Now right now in this pan, there's no olive oil, there's nothing. It's just a black carbon steel pan. You could do this on a non-stick pan. Basically what I'm doing here is just making sure I get all the moisture out of the asparagus. That way you get good coverage with that extra virgin olive oil. You can see virtually no more steam is coming off of it. It's nice and dry. So now the asparagus is nice and dry. I'll put in Turn down the fire a little bit. Put in probably about 2 teaspoons of olive oil. Let that saute a bit. Season it with a pinch of salt, some black pepper. I just turned off the fire because that's in a very hot pan. And now we'll put in about probably a little over a teaspoon of chopped up garlic. And that garlic, you don't want it to burn. That's why I turned down the pan. I just kind of like it to get that raw garlic taste out of there. I wish you could smell this. It smells fantastic. You can see the garlic. What you want is, again, to get rid of that raw garlic flavor and to maybe toast it just a little bit. Brings out a great flavor of garlic. And turned off the fire because I don't want to burn my garlic. And that is it. It is complete. I'll put that dish together and show you how it looks.
Now you can make this dish too.